Hello students, welcome back. So today we will start with the lecture 3 of our chapter Chemistry in Everyday Life. By now you have already studied about drugs. Okay, now we will be starting with the next topic of the chapter that deals with food additives. Now students, what are food additives? So food additives are the various substances that are added to the food, right, for various purposes. Now, why would we add a food additive to food, right? Food is something edible. It is an edible item. So why would we add a food additive to food? Now see, there can be several purposes because of which the food additives are added to the food. And the purposes are, number one, for preservation of food, right? The second is to increase appeal of food, okay, to increase the texture of food or to increase the appeal of food or make the food more appealing, okay. And the third is to add nutritive value to food, right? We can also add food additives to add nutritive value to the food. Now students, the various food additives that we can add to the food include, number one, food colors, which are basically added to the food to impart color to the food, so that the appeal of the food increases, or in other words, the food may appear to be more appealing. Okay, for example, if you have say for example any black colored food, the black colored food is not that appealing as a pink colored or white colored food is appealing. So these food additives are added, or these food colors are added to impart color to the food. The second is sweeteners and flavoring agents. Many times we add artificial sweeteners to the food and also some flavoring agents, like we have vanilla extract or you have the chocolate essence. So these flavoring agents will enhance the taste of the food. Okay. The third is fat stabilizers and emulsifiers. So see students, these fat emulsifiers or stabilizers, these are added to generally stabilize your fat in the food. Okay, and in low fat food, these substances are added to prevent the growth of yeast or mold on those foods. Flavor enhancers includes anti-staling agents and bleaches. See students, anti-staling agents are the substances that are mainly added to the baked food, okay, to improve the texture of the food, okay. And bleaches are used to remove the color from the flour. So because of these agents, the flour or your food, it becomes more appealing to you. Then you can add antioxidants. Antioxidants will preserve your food, or we can say that it will prevent the attack of oxygen on the food and hence prevents the oxidation of food. Then we can add preservatives to food. Preservatives, students, what they do, they will help in preserving the food or preventing we can say protecting the food from microbial attack. And some substances like vitamins, minerals, and amino acids, right? Now see students, generally we get vitamins, minerals and amino acids we get from the food that we eat, right? But sometimes we suffer from the deficiency of a particular vitamin, mineral, or sometimes we are not able to take the required amount of protein from the diet. So in that case, vitamins, minerals or amino acids can be added to the food, or they are also available in the form of pills or tablets, so you can take it in that form also. Okay, so out of all the 7 different food additives that we have seen, only the last one, vitamins, minerals and amino acids, have nutritive value. Rest all other are added either to increase the appeal of the food, to make the texture of the food look richer, or for any other cosmetic purposes. Okay, students, the first food additive that we'll be starting with is artificial sweetening or agents or artificial sweeteners. Now students, as we know that our sugar that we eat, it contains sucrose, right? And this sucrose gives us calories, right? Because of these calories, you become fat, you become obese, because whatever the sugar that you eat, students, okay, it enters the body, and after its metabolism, okay, whatever, so some part of it will be used by the body, but most of its part will be stored in the body as a fatty tissue or adipose tissue, and thus you become obese. So what the people do, they try to cut sugar in their food, but also they crave for something sweet. So in that case, students, artificial sweeteners can be very helpful for such people. One more thing, you know that a person who suffers from diabetes, right, he has to limit the sugar intake. So the diabetic person can use artificial sweeteners without any problem. They cannot take sugar or sucrose, but they can use artificial sweeteners in the place of sugar. The first artificial sweeteners that we'll be starting with is aspartame. Okay, see students, it is most widely used. It is most widely used artificial sweetener. Let us now have a look at structure of aspartame. See students, this is the structure of aspartic acid. Correct? This is the structure of aspartic acid. Aspartic acid is an amino acid. Okay? And this is the structure of an amino acid called phenylalanine. Okay? So this is an amino acid named aspartic acid, and this is the amino acid called phenylalanine. Now what happens is, the OH group from here, and the H from here will be removed. Okay, one OH and one H will be removed. So as a result, H2O molecule will be eliminated. OH and H, it gives you H2O. So H2O molecule is eliminated and this bond is formed. Okay, this bond that is formed, students, is known as peptide bond. Peptide bond, because it is formed between two different amino acids. Okay, now, and this structure that you get by the combination of two amino acids, the structure that you get is known as a dipeptide. Dipeptide. Okay, di means two, peptide because it is formed by the combination of two amino acids. Now, students, here if I replace this H, by a CH3, okay, then you can see that now it becomes an ester. Okay, this COO group is ester group. So now it becomes an ester. So I can say that aspartame is methyl ester of a dipeptide formed by aspartic acid and phenylalanine. Correct? This is aspartic acid, this is phenylalanine. Okay, this is the ester of phenylalanine. So this entire structure is known as a dipeptide. So I can say that aspartame is a methyl ester of dipeptide, which is formed by aspartic acid and phenylalanine. Correct? Now, students, aspartame is about 100 times. Remember this nicely. It is 100 times sweeter than sugar. Okay, so it is 100 times sweeter than sugar, but it does not have the harmful effects of sugar. Okay, then students, aspartame can be used in cold drinks and cold foods because it is unstable at cooking temperature. Correct? This aspartame, students, it can be used for your in your cold drinks and cold foods because at high temperature or at cooking temperature it is highly unstable. Okay. Now students, the second artificial sweetener that we'll start with is saccharin. Okay, it is the most popular artificial sweetener. It is most popular because it was discovered long back in 1879. And also, students, this sweetener can be used by a diabetic person without any problem. Okay. Now, its chemical name is orthosulfobenzimide. Orthosulfobenzimide. Okay. Let us have a look at the structure. Let us first understand the meaning of this word imide. This is amide, right? Now if I replace this H by again an acyl group, so now it becomes an imide. Okay, so students, look at the structure of saccharin. Right, this will be imide, this will be imide, but then so the name is benzimide. So this is benzimide. Now at ortho position there is sulfonic acid group, right? So hence the word sulfo is used. So here I will replace the CO by SO2. Okay, I will replace the CO here by SO2 group and now it becomes orthosulfobenzimide. Okay, so that is the structure of saccharin. Saccharin is 550 times sweeter than sugar. Okay, it is 550 times sweeter as compared to your cane sugar or normal sugar that we eat. It is harmless, inert, and is metabolized in body. Okay, so it is harmless, inert, and also it is metabolized in the body. That's all about saccharin. The third artificial sweetener is sucralose. Okay, it has appearance like sugar. Okay, it looks like sugar. It is trichloro derivative of sucrose. Okay, students, the structure of sucrose you will study in the chapter of biomolecules. So if I replace 3 hydrogens by Cl atoms in sucrose, then I get trichloro derivative of sucrose known as sucralose. It is 600 times sweeter than sugar. It can be used at cooking temperature and it does not provide calories. Okay, so it is stable at cooking temperature, and hence unlike your aspartame, it can be used at cooking temperature and it does not provide calories. Okay, then the fourth sweetener is elitame. Elitame is a very potent sweetener. It is a very potent sweetener. It is 2000 times sweeter than sugar. It is comparatively stable as compared to aspartame, but here the drawback is because it is 2000 times sweeter than sugar, it will be difficult to control its taste. Okay, it is difficult to control its taste. What does it mean? That if you are using elitame, you have to add in very minute quantities because the aftertaste of elitame is bitter. Okay, so these are the 4 artificial sweeteners in our syllabus. Now students, to sum up, we have aspartame, saccharin, sucralose and elitame as our artificial sweeteners. Sucralose is 100 times sweeter than sugar. Saccharin is 550 times sweeter than sugar. Sucralose is 600 times and elitame is 2000 times sweeter than sugar. Students, remember this very nicely because what I have seen is only 2 types of the questions which they are asking in your board exams as well as in your Gujket is the sweetness of these sweeteners as compared to sugar, and number 2, you have to remember that aspartame can only be used in cold foods. Okay, aspartame can only be used in cold foods and cold drinks because it is unstable at cooking temperature. Okay, generally they ask such short question and MCQ sort of the things from this topic. Okay students, our next topic in food additive is food preservatives. Okay, now food preservatives, they prevent the spoilage of food by microbial attack. Okay, so what they will do is they will not allow the microorganisms to attack on the food and hence cause the spoiling of the food. Now the various food preservatives that we generally use are salt, sugar, vegetable oil. Okay, see these 3 sweeteners, food preservatives, you might have seen using them in your homes. See, high concentration of salt and sugar will cause the death of any microorganism invading your food. Also, vegetable oil is a very good food preservative. Okay, so now you understand why large amount of salt and sugar is added in making of pickles. Then 4th is sodium benzoate. See students, this is benzoic acid. If you replace this H by sodium, it becomes sodium salt of benzoic acid known as sodium benzoate. Okay, sodium benzoate, students, whenever you use, you have to use in limited quantities because sodium benzoate is metabolized in the body, so you have to use it in limited quantities. Then you have salts of propanoic acid and sorbic acid which are used as food preservatives. Okay, so that's all about the food preservatives. Okay students, our next topic is antioxidants. See, antioxidants are the substances that prevent the oxidation of food. Very simple. Antioxidants, it means the substances which are against oxidation. So what they do is they prevent the oxidation of food by the attack of oxygen on the food. Okay, now students, why they will prevent the, or how they will prevent the oxidation of food? They prevent the oxidation of food because they are more reactive towards oxygen, right? So whenever oxygen comes and it attacks your food, so what will happen? Because these substances will be more reactive towards oxygen, these substances will cause will oxidize themselves and hence protect the food from oxidation. Okay, now the examples of antioxidants are BHT, that is butylated hydroxy toluene. Then you have BHA, that is butylated hydroxy anisole. Remember their full forms very nicely. Okay, very important for your exams. This BHT and BHA are widely used antioxidants. Okay, see students, addition of BHA to butter, if you add BHA to butter, it will increase the shelf life of butter from months to years. Okay, what is shelf life? Shelf life is the time period in which the food is safe to use. Okay, it's just like the expiry date. So students, suppose you buy some food, for example you are buying butter. So butter will have an expiry date. Okay, so maybe the expiry date may be 1 month or 2 months or 6 months from the date of manufacturing. Now if you add BHA to butter, then what will happen? Its expiry date will increase to years. From 2, 3 or 4 months it will increase to 1 or 2 years. Okay, because it is a very good antioxidant. It will prevent the oxidation of butter. My dear students, fats are more prone to oxidation. Okay, so addition of BHA will prevent the oxidation of fats such as butter. If you use BHA along with citric acid, then the effect of BHA and BHT increases. Okay, if you use BHT and BHA with citric acid, then the effectiveness of these antioxidants increases and it produces a more powerful antioxidant effect. Okay, then you have sulfur dioxide and sulfides. See, sulfur dioxide and sulfides, what they do is they are mainly used to prevent the oxidation of wines, beers, cut fruits, vegetables and sugar syrups. Okay, so these are different antioxidants that we have seen. Okay, now students, this is the summary of different food additives that we have studied. Okay, so you can just take a screenshot of this and you can later on note it down in your notebooks, so you know that becomes easy for you to remember all the names. Okay, hope you have liked the video. If you have liked the video, press the like button. Okay, and if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, then do subscribe to the channel. Okay, and share the video, okay, with your friends, your relatives, whoever are in 12th standard. Okay, so that's all for now. See you in the next lecture. Okay.